Hello, I'm John Kraft.
Kirk Allen.
We are the Edgar County Watchdogs. We've been getting, over the last year or so, we've got plenty of questions on what we do, why we do it, how we got started, some of the process we use. And so now we have some written questions that we're going to read and answer. And if you have any other questions that you would like us to answer on this subject, send us an email and we'll be glad to do a second video to try to answer some of those. So let's start with,
when was the organization founded?
the organization was formally founded on January 20, 2013. Prior to that, we wrote a couple of articles using Word and then saved it as an HTML document, uploaded it to the web page, and then manually moved everything down the page when we put a new article up. It got cumbersome, and then we ended up having to spend any money, so we incorporated the Edgar County Watchdogs in the state of Illinois as a 501c4. Kirk Allen, me, and another individual founded it, and it was founded for the express purpose of local government accountability.
After we got lied to unbelievably right here in Edgar County, and that's where the name originated from, was because this is where we started.
So the idea was that we could use the Freedom of Information Act to obtain public records that we would then write about to inform the public of what their local government bodies were doing. Then we could go to their meetings under the Open Meetings Act and talk to the public officials during the meetings, so be on the record. There's a difference between emailing or calling a public official and discussing it over the phone, or email and talking to them during a meeting where everybody that's at the meeting can hear what's going on. And that's what we do for the vast majority of things we do, is right there at the meeting.
Yep. Political party. What political party are you part of? We get that question pretty much all the time. 60 Minutes ask us that question.
Well, I was a Republican precinct committeeman for 2 years. I'm not anymore.
As was I, and I'm not anymore.
Why did you form a nonprofit? I think we covered part of that because we were spending our own money, and we still do, but people were wanting to assist, and we couldn't take money because we'd have to include it on our income tax. So we
couldn't, and when we did need any funding early on, you can't ask for donations.
Yeah.
Under Illinois laws,
yeah, you can't even ask for donations.
I think that was the primary reason, because we needed some help early on, and we weren't even allowed to ask under the Illinois laws. So that was the biggest.
We formed the nonprofit. Why did we change its tax exempt status to 501c4? We did not change its tax exempt status. When we initially formed, the IRS rules at the time were 501c4s could self-declare. No permission needed. Since we formed, the rules changed to where you had to obtain a letter from the IRS. We didn't know about it for a while, and then it was brought to our attention. So we corrected that, and in that correction process,
we have to be the only people that have ever gotten a letter like this from the IRS.
We received a letter stating they erroneously revoked our status and were reinstating it.
The IRS admitted that they screwed up.
So
I was shocked.
That's pretty good. So we do have the letter. We're officially IRS 501c4 with the approval letter.
What's the difference between Edgar County Watchdogs and Illinois Leagues?
Edgar County Watchdogs is the corporate name of the nonprofit.
And Illinois Leagues?
It's basically a website.
You know, a parallel
domain address.
A parallel would be in the College of DuPage when they try to keep records secret. In that case, they named a web address, openthebooks.com, in part of a legal proceeding instead of the actual owner of that domain name. And that was pretty comical when that got exposed.
The corporation owns the domain name. They also own Edgar County Watchdog.com and IllinoisLeaks.com.
Right.
What is our goal? Our goal is accountability to the law by local public officials and local governments.
Well, you don't live in DuPage Township, so why do you care what happens in our town? We got that one just the other night.
Yeah, because malfeasance in government knows no boundaries. Just like retaliation against people that might want to blow the whistle knows no bounds. So we get involved, people send us tips, we get involved, they can holler, call us anything they want.
And they have.
It really makes no difference. We get involved because somebody has contacted us about whatever public body we're looking at.
Let's see, what's the Edgar County Watchdog's goal in writing about Algonquin Township? Now, I think Algonquin's probably the 5th or 6th that we have hit this year, or in the 2018 time frame, because Shelbyville is probably one of the first that amazingly has wound down to where they just rebated $750,000 to the taxpayers. So that was a huge success.
We're talking townships, right?
Yeah.
So it was Main Township, Shelbyville,
Wesley.
What's that one up by DuPage? Plainfield.
Plainfield, that was the other one. That was the other one. So,
and it's one over here in Coles County. There's that Douglas.
Mattoon Township.
Where they had the vehicles parked in the boat and the RV parked in the garage. That was last year.
Oakland Township.
Yeah.
No, well, you went to a meeting. I didn't even go to a meeting on that one, but just photographs publishing the private property in the township building. That one and the Plainfield story has solved several other township problems with the same thing. So the question, back to the question on Algonquin, what's the Edgar County Watchdog's goal in writing about Algonquin Township? Number one is exposing the malfeasance. And number two, through that exposure, other organizations and other communities can take a look at what's going on and make sure it's not happening in their community, or they identify how to fix that problem. Every time we write an article, we end up getting bombarded from other townships where they're doing the same thing.
Public awareness.
Yep, that's what it's all about. Back to the funding. How often have we got these two? Are you funded by Koch brothers, or are you funded by George Soros?
No and no.
But it's amazing how...
If we were funded by either one, this quality of this video production right now would probably be just a little bit better.
Just a little bit. But yeah, those are two that we get.
Who paid you to go to the DuPage Township meetings?
Nobody.
I didn't think so. Because I didn't get paid. I just make sure you didn't.
Right. Who paid you to go to Oakland Township meeting?
Nobody.
Yeah. But we'll go to a meeting somewhere, and depending on the political makeup of that board, the opposite party, or we get blamed for colluding with the opposite party to come in there and do something. It's really comical to see how politicized people have made things.
Here's a good one. Algonquin is in McHenry County, not Edgar County. Why are you here? Well, the reason we added Illinois Leaks is because we're no longer just, as a matter of fact, we're not just in Illinois either.
Right.
The people kept asking that, so we, give them a different name. It's Edgar County Watchdogs is a corporation. Illinois Leaks is just a domain name.
And that question applies to every county.
You can buy Chicago pizza outside Chicago. You can buy New York strip steak outside of New York.
Right.
You could buy French fries outside of France. Our initial goal was just Edgar County public bodies, and then
when we wrote about what happened,
quickly people started saying, "Hey, come and help us out. How do you do it?" So then we went to Coles, we went to,
Douglas.
I mean, and
Vermilion.
just blew up from there. So that's why we're there when we're actually from Edgar County.
But that one question we get virtually every place we go is, why are you here? You're not from here. And what they don't realize is we're there because someone living there has reached out and said, can you help us? And a lot of times they can't do it because of retaliation. And retaliation is real with local small communities. There's no question it happens.
Who donates to your organization? Anybody that wants to.
Anybody that wants to.
The button at the bottom of almost every article we have, or at the top right of our website, it says donate now or something like that.
Well, should we give them a list?
No, and
Why not?
We'll explain that later. Have you received donations from elected Republican officials? We're not going to tell you who donates to us, but the answer is yes. We've also received donations from elected Democrat officials. We've also received donations from elected Libertarian officials, and from people of all political, religious, and any other persuasion. They've all donated to us.
I think we've had about every imaginable walk of life.
It's all small amounts.
Yeah.
Isn't it true Jeannie Ives pays you? We have pictures of you getting a check from her.
That came out, that was in a meeting in DuPage Township, if I recall.
Yeah. No, she doesn't pay us, and no, they don't have a picture of her giving us a check.
Is it true Alicia Benford hired you to look into DuPage Township?
No.
Well, they said it was true.
She's not even the one that told us about DuPage Township.
That's the funny part of it. And that's where they think they know, but they really don't know.
Did Brad Halbert pay you to go to Shelbyville Township?
No.
Nope.
But that is the biggest success story I think we have on a township coverage of how bad it was to the return of $750,000 back to the taxpayers. That's good governance.
They even made a new law to make that happen.
Yes, they did. And that township is a direct impact of what we did there statewide with the taking of people's tax money and stockpiling. So back to what do you hope to accomplish, here or there, it's back to good governance and take care of the taxpayers in a more responsible way.
Aren't you working with Susan Sweeney on Maine Township issues?
They published that in the paper. They were trying to bash the trustee, but they forgot there's another trustee they're not working with. We answered questions of both the Democrat and the Republican on the board, but they didn't, they didn't report the whole truth.
Here's one from when we were at College of DuPage looking into that mess. It's not a mess anymore. Have you received donations from Tim Elliott, the attorney you used when suing COD?
No.
No.
But how many times have everybody implied that he funds us?
And how many times have attorneys donate to people that hired them to perform a lawsuit?
Next two are recent ones that are pretty common.
Have you received donations from Gasser or Hanlon?
Now, Gasser is the road commissioner in Algonquin Township Road District,
yeah.
And Hanlon is the road district attorney.
The answer is no and no. Can you send us a list of your contributors?
No.
No.
But why?
We covered that earlier because of retaliation.
If you provide that list becomes the target for the people that have the courage to actually try to fix things, and you just don't do it. It's protecting your sources is one big issue on it. But
so here's an example of that. When we first started out, we were getting a lot of pushback from local public officials, and I told a used car dealer, I said, hey, I'll run a free advertisement on our webpage.
Oh, the bank.
And then you tell me if, because we're exploring any ways to, obtain any kind of, funding. And then you tell me if it works, and if you do, then, donate to us. That advertisement wasn't even up 24 hours. He called me begging me to take it down because his bank had called him up and threatened him, saying, we will never loan you or any of your customers any money as long as that advertisement is on their webpage.
Yep. So what do we do?
So what I did is I made a big long ad for the right-hand side of our webpage that said banking opportunities in Paris, Illinois, and I listed every bank in town and in the county, basically, because he wouldn't tell me who called. I was wanting to flush out the one that did.
And that took about 24 hours after.
And all that was just a list of an opportunity for people to go visit the banks in Paris. Only one bank called and complained.
Yep.
Demanded that we take their bank's name off the website. I left it up a couple more months after that.
I forgot about that.
Thinking he would send us another email or voice message, but he never did. He probably realized we called him as soon as he left that voice message that I still have to this day.
Yeah.
So, yes, retaliation is real, and no, you won't see a list of our contributors. How do we use the money we receive? Performing our main mission.
Covers our expenses.
Travel expenses, not for vacation.
You mean to Disneyland?
We don't buy our spouses and family members and children airplane tickets to Disneyland.
No lavender purses?
No, we don't buy lavender purses like some public official has done in the past. And
no tickets for grandchildren?
District. No tickets for grandchildren. We use that to pay for the fuel to get to public meetings, to pay for FOIA documents when we exceed 50 pages, to help pay for our lawsuits, insurance on the Edgar County watchdog vehicle,
maintenance,
maintenance on the vehicle.
Speaking of which, you need tires on that thing.
You're right, I do. Got to redo the license plate. Just got this notice.
How much was that?
So if you want to send us $101, we'll apply it towards the license plate.
There you go.
We even assist other people in FOIA lawsuits. You know, we'll give them a grant for their FOIA lawsuit. If they win and get back attorney fees, then we'll get our grant money back. That's it. That's all we use it for. I mean, we bought a printer ink, paper, pay for the website.
Typical expenses that any other business is going to have. And it's ironic, though, that becomes their focus when they can't dispute what's being exposed. Yeah. And that, just asking those questions is most telling, and we really appreciate it.
So, do the founders of Edgar County Watchdogs take a salary? No. We don't take a salary, don't take any compensation. If so, how much? None. Do we receive health and retirement benefits? No and no.
And then, this is an amazing one. How much money has the Edgar County Watchdogs recovered through lawsuits? Not enough to cover our expenses, and I think we've covered all of our legal bills, but we've done this for how many years now? The first 5 or 6 was out of our own pocket.
Well, since 2013.
Because we didn't even have enough funds, we didn't have donations to cover the expenses we had. So, and when you say recover, I mean, how many lawsuits did we recover our costs? I mean, every lawsuit we've had, we've recovered our costs, but all that did was...
We recovered our costs on all but one of them.
Yep. So, again, their focus is not on the work.
And that one was in Arcola, I think. Yeah.
Yep, Arcola. We didn't recover costs on that. Which that was years ago. If we knew then what we know now,
that would have never happened.
That would have been in the appellate court, and that lawyer probably wouldn't be practicing law right now. When did the Edgar County Watchdogs first meet Alyssa Benford? That's back to DuPage. When did Edgar County Watchdogs first meet Andrew Gasser?
Yeah, I don't know if you know, but I know there's pictures out there of us at a public function that we didn't. It wasn't our function, so the pictures speak for themselves.
Yeah, so it would have been sometime in or 2019, would have been sometime in 2018.
And there's nothing wrong with pictures. Take all of them you want.
You bet.
Don't bother me.
How would you describe your relationship with them? Well, the question presupposes that there is a relationship. So I'm not sure what they mean by relationship, but our goal is to have a relationship with public officials that want to fix the problem. And that means we help them both through exposing and answering questions that they may have, of which in DuPage Township, the one trustee that, Burgess, he would never ask a question in a meeting and never, seek help, but on social media he's all over the place asking questions. And I can't list the number of times he asked us questions, and the same thing up in Algonquin. And I mentioned Algonquin because
but didn't we go to the restaurant with Benford after the last meeting?
Yep.
He ordered that giant fudge chocolate cake with ice cream and caramel.
Yep.
That cost $5, and
it was $5.95.
Took 4 people to eat it.
I still can't believe that one.
Which reminds me, if anybody wants to go out, coffee or whatever after any meetings, don't matter who you are. If we just hollered at you in the meeting, we'll still go out to coffee with you.
Yep. Our goal is to answer people's questions. So we nurture relationships that focus on our goal of good governance and good compliance. And if that bothers folks, then so be it.
So when did we first meet Hanlon? I would say after the lawsuit.
That's probably the first time we ever met him was when we met with our attorneys. The first time we sat down with them.
Yeah, I don't know. I ain't got a clue.
Yeah, I don't know what the date on it is, but it would have been with our attorney.
Okay, here's the documents. Has Hanlon supplied you with documents? Has Hanlon supplied you with documents?
Absolutely. Yeah. So has James Kelly.
James Kelly. Oh, the township attorney give you documents?
Absolutely. So did, what's the other guy? Gasser. Has Gasser, absolutely. You know who else has? Trustee Lawrence. So, I don't know why they ask these questions.
So is the township clerk.
You're right. Not enough of them, though. She's the one that failed to comply with FOIA worse than any public body we've ever witnessed. But it's funny, we're back to...
They even exceed the wrongs that Carlinville's been doing.
Oh, tenfold, yeah. Carlinville was the worst, and I would say they are now number 2 compared to Algonquin Township.
So yeah, we get documents, and there's lots of people that we haven't mentioned that's given us documents.
And there's no law that says public officials can't give you documents.
People would be extremely surprised to find out who actually gives us documents.
Right. Oh, well, that's a fact.
Who handled the negotiations that led to the $40,000 settlement? Our attorneys did. That's why we hire them. You're going to hire an attorney and then negotiate yourself? No. And ended up being adding another $15,000 because the township board thought they were trying to be smart and disapproved the payment, and then the judge ordered a $55,000 payment. Thanks, township board.
Right.
Our attorney thanks you. Have you asked elected officials to upload documents to Dropbox? Yes, absolutely.
All the time.
Sometimes even under FOIA, or not under FOIA, however they want to get them to us.
No, when there are too many files or too big, that's the first thing we do is say, hey, we'll give you a Dropbox link to upload them. It simplifies the process. But yeah, we've done that. In fact, in Algonquin, we've had both the trustee and the road district that have uploaded documents to our Dropbox account. Rachel Lawrence has, and Andrew Gasser.
Have any of the founders of the Watchdogs lived in McHenry County? I haven't.
I haven't either.
You haven't?
Never.
What?
I have not lived in McHenry County. Contrary to some people's claim that I lived in McHenry County, I have never lived in McHenry County.
Just checking.
Now, I did live in Algonquin.
Well, Algonquin's in McHenry County.
Part of it is. The other part's in Kane County.
Well, now you're being difficult.
Yeah. Moved down here, moved to the family farm, I believe it was in 94, 95 time frame, and been down here ever since, living on the family farm.
I would too.
Why'd you relocate? A chance to come home and live on the homestead that my great-grandparents built. That was an opportunity and probably the best personal financial move I ever made. Not that that has anything to do with what we do as watchdogs.
No, so we've answered everything. We even sent the 501c4 paperwork to a reporter on April 16 of 2018 if he wants to check his emails. Answering those questions on our status as a tax-exempt organization. We're registered with the Secretary of State. You can look us up on Attorney General's charitable database file. All of our annual financial reports are there.
That's a good point. And all the Algonquin reporting, when we pulled up the associations that former road district was tied to, 2 different associations, to this day they still have not provided their mandatory filings that we've requested. Yeah. And they're not listed, they were not, when we wrote about it, listed with any of the charitable databases with the Attorney General's website like they're required to, but nobody reported that except us. So one of the other things that we do is fill in the voids where it's not being done locally by the local media.
Yep.
So our information is public. Go to the website, go to the Attorney General, it's all right there. Most of it's been sent to the reporter that asked.
If you have any other questions about our organization, send them to us as soon as we compile a list long enough to warrant making a video to answer, and we will.
You betcha. Well, on to the next one.
That's it. Thanks.
Have a good one.